crazy how they don't update the fucking the
Yeah,
fucking
I know,
Concacaf
right?
Champions League
I
bracket.
mean, I
It's
don't know.
ridiculous.
The
So
most
mind you,
Concacaf thing you'll ever see.
yeah, honestly, not updating the thing. So I don't know if it's because they're waiting on the final game tonight, New England versus what's the name? Independiente.
Kai. Yeah. Independiente.
Okay.
Yeah.
Independiente. I don't know why, dude. Every time I try to speak Spanish on this show, I fucking stumble across my fucking words. Independiente. But yeah. So I don't know if that's the reason why they haven't updated the bracket. It's kind of a stupid ass reason, if you ask me, because they updated some parts of it, like this Robin Hood Herediano one and Guadalajara and America. But that, I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me. But we all know they updated this part. So Philly versus Pachuca. I'll start off with you again, Will. What do you think of this game?
Oh, man. This is a tough one. Because, can you guys hear me good?
Yeah, we got you.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, it's a tough one. Obviously the easy answer, I think for most people would say is Pachuca. They're in season. They're in form. I want to say they're doing pretty decent right now. Not the hottest in Liga MX, but they are, still in season. They're weeks. They're weeks ahead. Philadelphia obviously did have a two-legged affair against Saprissa, and they had their game over the weekend, their first game in the MLS. I don't know. I really want to say that I could see a Philadelphia triumph, but Pachuca, I mean, man, Salomon Rondon, the Venezuelan, this guy, he's a beast. This guy, he played in Everton, River Plate, and he knows how to get physical when it needs to get on the pitch. I don't know. I just feel like I said, we were already talking about that Philadelphia defense. I see Glesnes, to be quite honest with you. I see him making like an own goal, in this affair with Pachuca. So I think Pachuca's got it.
All right. Just so for clarification on their standings in the league right now, they've played 9 games. They're 6-1-2. They're third in Liga MX. They're tied for third. They're in third due to goal differential, but their goal differential is 21 goals, 16 allowed, versus everybody else isn't even remotely close to that in the top 8. The next lowest in the top 8, the next highest goals allowed in the top 8 is 11. So they're extremely, extremely leaky. Philly, a team that's also kind of leaky, but can put up goals with obviously Julian Carranza, Daniel Gazdag, and all them guys. They're a team that can put up points. But I think Pachuca, like you said, is just going to have a little bit more quality. I have a feeling that Philly is just, after seeing what they let up against Saprissa, it makes me worried against a higher level team. And I don't know if they're going to be good enough to get the job done. It's going to be a shootout. It's going to be tough. Pachuca, I believe, is going to have the advantage. Let me just double check that. Yeah, Pachuca will host the second game. I have Pachuca advancing here. Adam, what do you got?
Yeah, I'm the same way. I just think that we'll like we said earlier, Philadelphia, they'll score goals, but they're the team that should be worried this year. And when it really comes down to it, I don't see them advancing.
Yeah, it is going to be. I think it's going to be a shootout. You're going to see a super high aggregate. I think both games are going to be really high scoring.
It's just
both teams letting up a
it could
lot
be close,
of goals,
but it's just I still don't see them, advancing through it.
Right.
All right, let's go down to the next game. We got Robin Hood versus Herediano. Well, we'll start with you again. Who do you got out of this series, this matchup?
Man, I don't want to spare the feelings of any of the Suriname people or long dated, and talk about Herediano, but Herediano, it's straightforward. I think, Robin Hood, like I said, big ups to them. I really don't want to take away anything. Winning the Caribbean Cup is big, especially for these guys. Yeah, it was a big deal. But this is CONCACAF's best, and Herediano, what they did, we talked about it a little bit last time on the last pod. That's still a very impressive win over Toluca, So don't take anything away from them. I think Herediano's fresh. I think they're going to be riding that last victory that they had in the CONCACAF Champions Cup, and I think they'll keep it going.
I think they're going to absolutely keep it going. I mean, they're a team on a roll, and then we're talking about a team that plays in a country that is so bad that they can't play with the South Americans and have to play with us. I mean, come on, let's be real. Like, they're South American.
In a way, you're not wrong. I think it's part of the reason why they brought Suriname and Guyana and those countries into the CONCACAF. It just fits their level more.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, obviously, I'm biased. Costa Rican, Herediano, they're going to advance. I think they're going to advance very easily. I mean, obviously, doing what they did at Toluca cannot be put down at all. And I think they're going to do the same here. They're going to advance. And it's probably going to be the first Costa Rican team to make it to a quarterfinal in a while. So, yeah. So, all right, So we're going to have a Pachuca Herediano matchup, which I think might be pretty interesting. All right, let's move on to the other quarter of the bracket. And here we have the amazing matchup, Chivas versus America. A big matchup. All eyes are going to be on this game. This is probably going to be one of the most thrilling games this round. Will, we'll start off with you again. Who do you got?
Oh, this is tough. This is tough because I have friends on both. I have friends for both teams, for America and for Chivas Guadalajara. I don't know if you guys saw this little fun thing with the little fun fact to the game. They're going to be playing each other 3 times in the span of like 2 weeks because they have a Liga MX game that same, I think the first leg that weekend, and then they have the second leg, and it's just, this is like, for many people, obviously they probably know this is like the Classico of I wouldn't even say CONCACAF, of all of America. This is big. This is a big game between 2 historically rival teams. Obviously, kind of getting into the teams a little bit. America, coming off obviously a really good Liga MX campaign last season. They're starting off solid this season. I would say for their terms, pretty good. So they're going to ride. They're going to keep going. Alejandro Zendejas up top. The Chilean in the midfield. I'm forgetting his name right now, but oh my goodness. But that guy, he is solid. He's probably their biggest playmaker within the midfield. He'll produce some things. America's got a lot of weapons, and there's no question. It's Club America. They've got the money. They can buy, and they had a good transfer market window during the wintertime. Chivas obviously as well, bringing back Chicharito. I think he'll be fit for this series. I definitely know he'll be wanting to play this one. Cade Cowell.
I think you have Valdez, by the way. I just wanted
Valdez,
to
yes. Yeah. Diego Valdez. Yeah. That's the thing. I think there's a lot of talent on both sides. Obviously, if you had to break it down, Club America, I personally think has a little bit more. I'm going to kind of go with it. I think the biggest difference maker in this, I don't want to say it'll be a high scoring affair, but I think Club America, Luis Malagon, I have to say this guy, I know Mexicans rate and love Ochoa, but this guy's the next big thing for them. He is absolutely, he's the wall. I've seen some of his highlights and seen some what he's done in the Liga MX. It's up there. It's up there with some of the top CONCACAF goalkeepers, I would say. So I think, honestly, the defense for America will come up big. I know they're going to be hosting the second leg, I believe. So Estadio Azteca is going to be rocking that one, but I got to go America.
Yeah, they have
it.
Yeah, they have the advantage. So yeah, second leg is going to be in there. And for me, that's going to determine it for me. I agree with you. I think America just has a little bit more talent. I think Quiñones, Valdez, Zendejas. I think they just have a lot of talent, and I think they have the ability to, and they're starting off the season really strong. Guadalajara, they're not playing bad, but they're not playing amazing either. They're 4-2 on the season. We'll see how things go. It's definitely going to be must-watch TV though, for sure. And I'm gonna go Americas here. Like I said, I think they just have more veteran talent. They have guys that have been here and done that and have played well. And I think they're going to advance. But you,
Yeah.
Adam?
No.
You know what? I hate to be this guy, but I'm actually gonna save it and say let's move on to the next one because what you both said is pretty much exactly how I feel about this matchup, and I don't feel like repeating it over and over again. I think you guys hit the nail on the head on this one. It really could go either way, but if I had to lean, it would definitely be America.
Man, real quick, that America second leg is at 11:30. That's gonna hurt, dude. Why is it so late? Those Mexican games are always so late. The first leg's at 10, but then the one at the Azteca, 11:30. Man, that's late for Mexico. Yeah, like 8:30. That's an 8:30 kickoff. Like, man,
I think 9:30, something like that.
9:30 is it 2 hours? You might be right. It might be 2 hours. That's a 9:30 kickoff. That's a late ass kickoff.
Right.
Oh man. All right, let's go down. We're going. All right. Will.
Yeah. Don't tell me. Don't say
Let's assume New England's going to advance today. Let's assume. Hey, look, I know they're only up 1-0 on the leg.
Yeah.
And anything can happen.
Yeah.
And give
it's
us
a wrap.
Prediction for both.
New England's winning it. I'm going to put that out there.
Okay. All right, so it's New England versus Alajuelense. Who do you got?
Yeah, that's going to be a tough one. Oh man, thinking real quick on Kai though. There, just for in regards to tonight, I know that game's coming up later. They're not going to win tonight. I love them. I really love the boys. They've done a great things within Panama, and I will say they've started actual fan bases, and people are coming together, and I love to see it. And they've won their third cup, their third Panamanian Cup, but after the winter transfer market, they lost half the team. Guys are going left and right all over Latin America. So yeah, they're not winning tonight. But in regards, I think New England Revolution, they'll move on and they'll play Alajuelense, which Alajuelense, unlike Robin Hood, I do rate more. I think they've got, obviously, and it's clear to say they've got way more talent within the roster.
Oh, we lost Will again. Yeah, we got you.
Okay. All right. Yeah. And I think that second leg's going to be big for them. I think New England has a good home field advantage within Gillette, but I don't know. There's obviously always this debate, whether for some MLS teams, if they don't pack the stadiums out or if they do, or how the crowds are. I think they're just not going to show up that first leg. Their fan base. They'll have some people there, of course, but I don't think it's going to affect Alajuelense. The weather might a little bit, but with that second leg being back in Costa Rica, I think Alajuelense can honestly cruise with that and try to. Of course, I make it sound easy, but it's not going to. Gillette is still a hard place to play, but I think Alajuelense can win this one.
It's a hard place to play with your ACLs, dude. That takes ACLs left and right. I'm going to say this is a very good matchup because this is a New England team that is not that good. It's a New England team that lost 3-1 against DC United week 1, which DC United also not a very good team. New England is not very strong. I think they're good enough to beat the Panamanian team, Kai, but they're a talented team. They're a very tough squad. Obviously, they won the Central American Cup. They're playing really well right now. I think they have a lot of talent. Obviously, the legends, Celso Borges, Joel Campbell. They got players.
Arsenal legend Joel Campbell.
Yeah. And ending his career off in Costa Rica, going back home. Aaron Suarez, who's been getting some national team call-ups in Costa Rica. He's playing well. I think it's a team right now. Morea, the goalkeeper, can't pronounce his name at the moment. I don't think he's the best. I don't think he's national team level. And from what I'm hearing, I don't think a lot of people really rate him in the Costa Rican level. But nonetheless, he's still an experienced goalkeeper who's played against high level talent. And I think it's going to be a really close game. I think it's going to be a really good game. I think Aloela having that advantage back home, I think they get the upset here. I think New England is just too rocky. They're just not good enough. They don't have enough talent. I think they're still riddling with injuries from players that they lost last year because of that terrible turf. I think Aloela is going to be rocking. I think that stadium is going to be absolutely bumping. Look, I know my family's Saprissa fans, but seeing the fans in Aloela, like they just go super hard. Like I'm not very allegiant to either team. I would love to go to a game, but I think they get the job done. I think they get the upset of New England. I think New England wasn't even supposed to be in this tournament. New England only got in because Columbus Crew won the cup. And New England even got in that position because of a really strong first half of the season last year with Bruce Arena. But then after the whole Bruce Arena thing went down, the team started to fall off. Petrovic, now Chelsea goalkeeper, left in the summer, which hurt them a lot defensively. It seems like they're still missing Barreo. I just don't think they're good enough to get the job done. And I think Aloha is going to sit back, play defensive, get the job, and and squeak out 1-0 wins.
Yeah.
Adam, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's the same thing. We were saying, um, you know, yeah, actually, at the end of last season, we were talking definitely about, how New England, they really were such a good team in the first half. It wasn't just down to good luck and everything. Bruce Arena really did have a good unit, a very good group of talented players, but they were very together. And Carlos Gil is such a great player. I mean, any team in the MLS would take him
He's
in a heartbeat.
incredible number 10.
I mean, he's such a good number 10. But yeah, since that whole situation, it really has sucked the life out of them. They have not looked the same. The fact that they are only up 1-0 on aggregate, I think, says pretty much all you need to know about them. So I would agree, and I think that I just couldn't see them moving on.
I will say shout out to Noah Buck, really good young talent. He's getting looks from England right now. He did get called up to the England U19 team. And I love that player, Dylan Barrero. It's a shame he got injured last year, and hopefully he'll be back soon. But yeah. All right, let's move over to the other side of the bracket here. Let me all right, here we go. Mm-hmm. So we have Columbus automatically advancing due to winning MLS Cup. And then Houston beating St. Louis that Will talked about ad nauseum. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. All right, so we got Columbus versus Houston. Will, who do you got here?
Keeping it short and sweet. It's Houston. I think Columbus.
Wow.
I know.
You're
I know.
Homer.
Listen,
Homer.
Hear me out on this one. Hear me out on this one, though. Darlington Nagby, obviously Rossi. They were, like you said, they didn't lose anybody this past winter. So it's not like Columbus went down. They're still riding. And if anything, they picked up a few more guys. They picked up, shout out that Guatemalan goalkeeper, Nico Hagen. I mean, that dude's a beast, So I don't even know if he's going to start this game. That's how deep Columbus is. I think, though, with
Schulte,
Houston. Yeah. I think with Houston's, I have to say it, the midfield play. There was an argument I saw a little bit ago on X before we hopped on the pod, and it was the debate between Darlington Nagby or Adalberto Coco Carrasquilla and who's better, who's better in that midfield role. Nagby's obviously, a world talent. All right, I wouldn't go that far, but he's a class talent. He's had multiple calls with the U.S. national team. I want to say he was on 2 of their Gold Cup winning squads. I know 2017 and can't remember the other one. And then obviously Kariski, what he's done, past summer with Panama, what he's done with Houston, taking them to the playoffs and whatnot. But I think this is going to be a series in the battle of the midfields, and also for Houston with Hector Herrera, coming back for another season. I don't know. I think there's just going to be enough firepower from Houston to be able to go for it. I know the first leg will be in Houston, so I think they have to take advantage of that and then hop on the gun. Do not let Columbus score and then see what they can go from there. But I think the boys in Houston got it.
I got Columbus here. I think, yes, it's going to be a midfield battle, and I think they're going to do great. But the only problem with Houston is they lack the firepower offensively in the attack. Versus Columbus has probably the best attack in the league. I think, even though I love Hector Herrera, Ache and Coco Carrasquilla, they can only take you so far if they don't have the people in front of them. And we saw that in that Houston game. They still, 1 goal each game. I think Columbus just has too much firepower to be stopped. I believe they have the best coach in MLS, and they're just going to get the job done. I think they're going to move on in advance. Adam, who you got?
I would agree with you, Julian. I just think that Columbus are too good of a team. I think they're going to be trying very hard in this competition. And it's not that I think Houston's, they're a good team too, obviously. They deserve to be here after their U.S. Open Cup run. Other than that, they've been a good team. But Columbus, I just feel have the better everything.
All right, let's go down to probably another really, really big, really good matchup. Tigres versus Orlando City. Will, obviously, start off with you again. The big Orlando guy. Guy has Orlando getting the treble this year. So we know who he's picking.
Yeah. I think, honestly, piggybacking off of what you just said, Julian, I think they're really going to be putting their eggs in the basket for that. Kind of funny enough, Tigres was the exact same team Orlando faced last year in the Concacaf League. If that's, I want to be.
And they got fucked by away goals.
Yeah, exactly. So away goals, that needs to be done completely, but it's not. We know how CONCACAF is. They're a step behind everybody else. But
they finally added one leg finals. They finally added a one leg final on a neutral location.
Yeah, it took them a while. But yeah, we'll see. I don't know. I think Orlando, they obviously have what it takes. And this might be a little bit disheartening.
Lost Will again. All right, there
you guys
we go.
Hear me now?
You're back, Will.
I don't want to say they're going to steamroll over Orlando City, but I think this is going to be it's going to be a one-legged affair. I think Vancouver was kind of just a sign of that. Obviously, Vancouver isn't up to the depth chart that Orlando has, but you saw what they were able to do with them, and it kind of really starts up top with Gignac, Quinones. Also, obviously, their goalkeeper Noel Molina. He can be something else at times, but when you think
is he going to play over Guzman, you think?
That's who I meant. I'm sorry. Excuse me, Guzman. That's who I meant. Yeah, that's who I meant. Guzman. Yeah, Noel Guzman. My apologies. Yeah, no,
you can't miss the thing he has.
Oh my gosh, the little mohawk he's got. Yeah, he is something else. But he gets the job done though. So I think Orlando City, they really got to go in that first leg, kind of like I was saying about the Houston affair with Columbus as well. They need to go in there fresh and hot, ready for that first leg. Obviously St. Louis won 2-1 against Houston, but we saw away goals bit them in the butt. I think the same thing can happen here to Orlando, but if they go in there locked and loaded first leg, anything could happen. It is a toss-up, but I do see Tigres winning this one.
Yeah, as for me, this is a tough one. I'm really having a tough time picking this one because these are teams that really they have a lot of firepower. I think Tigres, I don't know if they still are, but they're for sure one of the highest payrolls in North America, if not the highest payroll in North America. And then you have Orlando City, who just beefed up their team even more and going to be looking out for blood, especially after what happened last year. This is going to be a rematch of what happened last year. Look, man, I mean, Orlando, obviously you got Facundo Torres, Duncan McGuire, which I'm not super high on Duncan McGuire. I think he's a little overrated. That's just me. I don't think he's that great. I think he's a great athlete. I don't think he's super great technically. Obviously, Nico Ladero, who's experienced now MLS Concacaf champion versus Tigres. Tigres, man, Gignac. I think we talked about it before. The dude's probably the best signing.
Yeah, it's such a great signing. Yeah.
He's been one of the best players in North America for the past like 5 years. Dude has been since he's come to Mexico from France. He's just been playing so well. And I think with Tigres having the advantage with the second leg being at home, I'm going to go Orlando here. I think Tigres is just going to have what it takes to get it done. I think they absolutely obliterated Vancouver. Granted, Vancouver was not a great team. Orlando's a better team than Vancouver. I just think Tigres they're just so good. And I think Orlando's still trying to figure things out, which we kind of saw in that Montreal game. I got Tigres advancing. Adam, who do you got?
Yeah, I'm the same. I just think that Tigres, I mean, they have to be considered one of the favorites for the whole competition. And in the future, like, if this was happening a few months down the line, maybe I'd give Orlando a little bit of credit because, like we mentioned, they made some good moves, and I think what they're doing there is yeah, they do. So I think that's going to come back to bite them, and I would agree with what you said mainly. Gignac is going to be the star. I mean, he's always seems to do something for them. It's fun to talk about that guy. Really is.
All right. Will's got Orlando. Me and Adam got Tigres. All right. Let's hit this final corner over here. We got Monterrey versus Cincinnati. Incredible matchup. Brandon Vasquez going back to Cincinnati after leaving. This is going to be I'm really excited to see this matchup. I think it's going to be really fun. Start off with you, Will. Who do you got in the Brandon Vasquez Classico?
You guys hear me?
Yeah, okay, we hear you. Yeah. Did you hear what I said?
Okay. Yes. Yeah. The Monterrey going back, Brandon Vasquez. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's going to be a good game to watch. I think just all in all, obviously the storyline, the big one's going to be Brandon Vasquez going back to his hometown, or excuse me, not to his hometown, but going back to his MLS stomping ground with Cincinnati. I think honestly, though, realistically, breaking it down, going team to team, I think Monterrey just have the better team also on paper. They have the leadership in the back with Hector Moreno. They have up top Brandon Vasquez, one of the new biggest signings. And then also just what they did in their past leg game against Comunicaciones, the team from Guatemala. I mean, absolutely just stomped the door on these guys. It wasn't even close. I mean, the first leg was there was a maybe, a little bit back and forth within the first half. But then after that first goal in the second leg back in Monterrey, I mean, they just shut the door down on these guys. So I think Monterrey have obviously what it takes. Cincinnati have as well. I mean, they have a really, really good team with, correct me if I want to say his name properly, Lucha Acosta, the Argentinian.
Yes.
Acosta,
yep.
And then obviously usually they have, the team that can compete with Monterrey as well from the front to the back. But I think Monterrey, I've got to say they've got what it takes, and I think they'll be making a little bit of a deep run. So I think Monterrey wins this one.
Yeah, man, for me, this is a tough one. because Cincinnati also beefed up defensively too, adding Miles Robinson. Obviously, you got Matt Miazga back there. You're keeping Barriel on the left wing. You have Bupenza, who's back in his first full season. They are missing Brandon Vasquez, which was a big piece. But to be fair, Brandon Vasquez really slowed down in that second half of the season. Lucho Costa, MLS MVP. There's just so much talent on there. And then Monterrey, you have obviously Brandon Vasquez. You have Canales. You got so many pieces on there too. And top playing best team in the Liga MX right now in first place. Sorry about that. I had to sneeze. But man, this is tough. I think it's going to be a shootout for sure. I'm going to go Monterrey here. I think they're just going to have a little bit more quality. I think when it comes to these type of close matchups, I always want to lean more towards the team that's the most warmed up. And I know Bupenza supposedly had a really great preseason. I'm just curious to see, after a little bit of a lackluster performance against Toronto, not having that second striker that they really want there to replace Brandon Vasquez makes me want to lean Monterrey here. I think Monterrey is going to advance and move forward, but I can see it going either way. But gun to my head, I'm going Monterrey.
Yeah, just for fun. I mean, I agree with you guys.
I love Canales too.
Yeah.
Real Sociedad, Real Betis, legend.
But just for fun, I'm going to go against the grain here, and I'm going to say that Cincinnati, you're going to pull it off. Like Julian said, I mean, this really could go either way. This is probably the matchup of the round of 16. If you're looking at the matchup on paper, this has to be the top. So yeah, I'm going to go against you guys here. I'm just going to take Cincinnati, but this is a great matchup.
I do want to say, I do feel like a lot of these matchups have really balanced themselves out for this tournament. Like, there's so many great matchups between Columbus, Houston, Tigres, Orlando, Chivas America, Alajuelense, New England, Cincinnati, Monterrey, and now we'll start off with the final one: Miami versus Nashville. Another great matchup. A Leagues Cup final last year, rematching against each other. We got Nashville going to play the first leg at home and then the second leg at Miami. Will, who do you got here?
I've got to say, I got to shout out the Nashville fans a little bit first. Kind of reading a little bit on X, checking out a few minutes ago. I think they're more excited for this game than the actual team. Nashville has so much blood in their eyes after what happened in the Leagues Cup. That arguably might have been remarkably one of the greatest. I wouldn't even just say Leagues Cup games, but one of the best domestic games in North America in a while. I mean, the shootout and everything, and the way it went down. The goalkeepers taking the penalty kicks, and just the whole atmosphere. So I don't know. I think, this is. I mean, if you wanted to put a bet on this one, I would not. If I was a betting man, I would not go on this game. But with looking at obviously the rosters, the teams, Miami did get the bye, and they will be hosting the second leg. I think Nashville. I mean, of course, top to bottom, they're a really, really stacked team with Anibal Godoy, Fafo Picoult, if I'm pronouncing that right, Walker Zimmerman in the back. Up top, obviously, I don't even have to say his name, Hani Mukhtar. This guy, they're all around the field. They're stacked. I mean, of course, you can say the same about Miami. I think Nashville will.
We lost Will again. Well,
they're really going to be putting their eggs in the basket.
All right, you're back. Yep. So who'd you have?
Inter Miami. I think they've got it.
Inter Miami. Yeah. So I think I have to agree with you because things are a little bit up in the air if Hani Mukhtar is going to be ready. Obviously, Hani Mukhtar got injured in the first leg of the game against Mocha FC. From what I'm reading right now, it's saying that he's doubtful for the next game. And I don't really see an expected return yet. They haven't said exactly when he can come back. I think they're still trying to figure that out. Barring that he returns, which we'll see. And same thing with Sam Surge. Sam Surge, I love the signing in the summer transfer window. Obviously, guy with a ton of English Premier League and English Championship experience. I thought he was going to be a great piece to put next to Hani Mukhtar. Obviously, both of them being injured, I think that's really going to affect them. And we saw it in the New York Red Bulls game. Obviously going 0-0, looking very not exciting at all, honestly. I think Miami is going to advance here unless they're able, because it looks like they're going to Randall Leal's out to late March. Unless they can get Hani Mukhtar and Sam Surge back for that game, it's going to be a lot closer, and they might be ready for the second leg. And with the way Miami's looking, it looks like they're having a hard time putting points together. So if Nashville can keep Miami just one goal or tied in this this first leg, anything can happen in that second leg, because I think both their star players are going to be back. But if I had to pick, if I'm a betting man, I'm going Miami. I think in these type of tournaments, you're just going to have a guy like Lionel Messi who's just going to step up. And by then, I'm hoping Busquets is going to be a little bit more healthy. He even said today that he still feels the pain in his ankle, but he feels like he's about a week away from being 100%. I think Redondo is going to have some time under his belt. I think defensively, you don't really have a ton to worry about, even though defensively Miami does scare me. Nashville, without Mukhtar or Sam Surge, they don't strike a lot of fear in my heart. I think Miami's going to have enough to get it done in advance.
Yeah, this is the kind of game, you look at the way these teams play. Nashville is going to sit back and they're going to try and counter. This could be a very stressful game for Miami unless their attack can be clinical. If their attack is clinical, then I think that they can make it so that this game isn't even close. It's going to be a tough one. These are two very good teams. But I'd have to lean Miami on this.
All right. And those are our Concacaf Champions Cup Round of 16 predictions. Let us know how we did, if we're terrible, if we're going to be wrong, so on and so forth. We're going to do this each round of the tournament. We got a great list of games. I thought this first round, there was a lot of games. Didn't necessarily care too much about, but now almost every game that's on, I'm going to want to watch, outside of maybe the Robin Hood Herediano game, because I think that's just not going to be super competitive. But every game outside of that one, it's going to be a really good game. So I'm super excited. I think this might be the chance for MLS to kind of, if they can win their matchups, this could really tip it in the favor of them getting another team to win the championship. So we shall see.